Good morning, boys, and welcome back. This is our final lesson on the Rebbe's Seder. Last time we left off right after Beirach, after benching. And the two steps left to the Seder are Hallel and Nirtza. But there's a little paragraph in the Haggadah right before Hallel that's called Shfoch Chamas'cha. And we're going to talk about how the Rebbe would do that paragraph. Then we'll talk about Hallel Nirtza. Then we'll talk about the end of the Seder, how the Rebbe ended it. And also about the Farbrengen, which the Rebbe used to hold on the second night of Pesach after the Seder for the first 20 years of his Nesias. Our minhag is that right before saying the paragraph of Shfoch Chamas'cha, we pour the fourth cup of wine, and then we open the door to the outside, and some people carry candles to the door, and there we read the paragraph of Shfoch Chamas'cha. Now, all the years that the Rebbe made the Seder in his Friedrich Rebbe's apartment, he did not go to the door for Shfoch Chamas'cha. Instead, they sent a shliach, one of the bachrim or the waiters who was there would go open all the doors, all the way to the front door of 770, and then the Rebbe would just lift himself up a little bit off his chair, but would say Shfoch Chamas'cha sitting down. At this point in the Seder, the Rebbe's energy and facial expressions changed completely to a very, very serious and dveikostiker tone. Both the tune that he would use for the Haggadah from now on, plus his bodily motions, were from a completely different world. Here is Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak Ofen, a mashpia and a shliach of the Rebbe in Eretz Yisrael, describing a little bit of what that was like.
אבל משפוך חמתך השתנה כל הסדר, איך הרבי היה אומר את ההגדה. ואלה שעמדו בסמיכות לרבי שמעו איך שהרבי אומר את שפוך חמתך. הרבי היה אומר זאת בדבקות מאוד מאוד גדולה. אני יכול רק לחזור על הניגון של הדבקות של הרבי, כפי איך שאני זוכר, אבל זה בכלל לא מיני ולא מקצתי מהנעימות, הדבקות שהרבי אמר את זה. שפך עמוסכו לגאים, אשר לידעוכו, ועל ממלוכיס, אשר בשמחו לקוראו, כי אוכל יקב, ואסנובהו, הישמו.
The Rebbe would read the entire end of the Haggadah with the tune just described by Rabbi Ofen, the paragraph of Shfoch Chamas'cha and the entire Hallel. The Rebbe would hold on to the handles of his chair and sway back and forth with extreme dveikus. It was one of those times in the year, like the time of Tkiyas, blowing the shofar, when it was clear that the Rebbe was operating on a different level. We don't know for sure the source of this special tune which the Rebbe used for Shfoch Chamas'cha and Hallel. However, one year the Rebbe did say to one of the Hasidim before he began, pay attention to the nigun of the Alter Rebbe, which seems like that means that the Rebbe's tune for this ending of the Haggadah actually was a tradition passed down from the Alter Rebbe himself. The Rebbe spent a long time saying all the paragraphs of Hallel. Sometimes the Rebbe would only finish after the reader was long done, and that's when it was possible for all the Bachrim and Chassidim to hear the Rebbe sing his wonderful tune. The Rebbe completed the entire Hallel, then made the bracha Bayer Pri Agafen and drank the fourth cup leaning to the left. Afterwards, the Rebbe made the bracha Achrona, and then said the words at the end of the Seder, L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim. But the Rebbe didn't say it very loud, just in a regular tone of voice. Perhaps one of the most mysterious parts of the Rebbe's Seder was what would happen right after L'shana haba b'Yerushalayim, when the Rebbe would pour all of the leftover wine in his cup and in the Koshel Eliyah, which was full, back into the bottle. Throughout all the generations, the Rebbeim would pour back the wine into the bottle while all the Chassidim at their Seder sang the nigun of Keliata. And the Rebbe had a very unusual way of doing this, and I'm going to let some of the Chassidim who were at the Rebbe's Seder describe it to us. Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak Ofen, who we saw before, and Rabbi Yosef Minkowitz, shliach of the Rebbe to Montreal.
אחרי שגמרו את הברוך אחרינו ולשון הבא בירושלים, אז נוגעים להחזיר את הכוס של ליאור בחזרה לבקבוק. וכאן היה סדר הווידה שלם של הרבי, זה לקח 10 דקות ויותר אפילו,
It's something you saw every year. I don't remember anybody can figure out exactly what the Rebbe did, because basically there was the Rebbe's becher with a tetzel underneath, there was a Keshe Liyo with a tetzel underneath, and both things had to be poured back into the bottle. So I can't tell you an order. I don't know if anybody knows a specific order, but the Rebbe took from the bottle of the wine, poured into his becher, something from the Keshe Liyo. Keshe Liyo poured into his becher, the becher back in the Keshe Liyo, then into the bottle. He took also from the tetzel. It went like 10 times. It was going back and forth, in and out and in, all around. I remember there was once a bocher, he wanted to figure out the whole apochas, how many times the Rebbe is doing it. So he prepared different color papers, blue paper, red paper, green paper, and he's changing around in his pocket from here to here to here.
אין איתנו יודע עד מה כל העניין הזה שהרבה שופך לפה ולשם ולשם ולפה, ובינתיים היו שרים את הניגון קהיליית ובידקו במשך כל העבודה הזאת, שפיכת הכוס של ליאור. ועד שהרבה מסיים את זה.
The Rebbe would leave the Seder with a very uplifted energy, usually encouraging the singing of the Hasidim. Many years, on the second night of the Seder, before the Rebbe walked out, he would brush the zroya off of the kaira, so that nothing would be left on top of the matzahs. On the second night of Pesach, for the first 20 years of his Nesias, the Rebbe would hold a special, unique Farbrengen after the Seder. At about 1:30 in the morning, the Rebbe would walk into 770. And those who were still up were zeicher to take part in the most special Farbrengen. The Rebbe would say, for a few hours, explanations on the Haggadah. Some years, there was a mimer said at this Farbrengen. And one unique thing about this Farbrengen was that the Rebbe, almost the entire time, had his eyes closed. Because, some Hasidim explained, there were many people there sleeping. Of course, after 4 cups of wine and a lot of matzah and food, people are tired, and sometimes they would doze off. And the Rebbe once made mention, apparently, that he didn't want to have to see and embarrass those people. And so he kept his eyes closed. And this Farbrengen would go till about 4:30 in the morning, after which the Rebbe would leave, and the next day, back for Shachris at 10 o'clock. We've learned a lot together over these last couple of lessons, and I hope that each of us will be able to enhance our Seder this year with the information that we've learned. And Be'ezras Hashem Yisbarech will be zeicher that this year we won't celebrate our Pesach Seder just with our families alone, but rather everyone together as one big family, with Mashiach Tzidkenu in Yerushalayim Yer HaKodesh, B'mheira v'yameinu, Amen.